G'day, Chiefs. Now listen, we've got a killer episode this week. This has been one of the hardest topics I've ever had to work on. Interestingly, it is one of the most common questions I get. It's all about career crossroads and that question that goes in your head. Should I stay or should I go? Oh man, we find ourselves in some tricky situations, You'll be sitting there asking yourself, I'm not being paid what I'm worth. I look around the room and everyone's a pork chop. They're carrying on. All worried about politics and fiefdoms and not the work we're doing. Or maybe there's just no energy anymore. The place it's got the life is sucked out of it and you feel like, you just can't keep trying to lift the place up every day. Maybe you've just been there too long and you need a refreshing start, or there's always something. Maybe you're not being recognised for your efforts. These are all the kinds of things that lead us to start looking for a job online. All of a sudden, Seek jumps up on your website or something, and all of a sudden, of course, all the social media platforms work out you're looking for a job, and you just get bombarded in your social media with job advertisements and things like this. The funny thing is, this is a remarkably difficult decision for a lot of us to make. So what I wanted to do was lay out a framework for you over 3 parts. I hope this deals with about 95% of cases. If you are stuck, drop me a note. Just greg@chiefmaker.com.au. I'll try and help you out as best I can, or even better, put a question mark in one of the videos, either on YouTube or on the podcast, wherever you're listening to this. Okay, step 1 is about getting context. Right, part 1 is about getting context, and there's 3 steps to this, okay? You've got a big decision to make. There could be a whole range of factors involved here. It could be a very complex decision, could be easy. Let's try and make it, though, no matter how difficult it is, as clear as possible and the best possible solution that's the most upside and the least downside for you. What we don't want to do is run face first into a decision that's going to get us nowhere, and we end up sitting there going, well, that was the worst decision I ever made. Now look where I'm at. I'm in a worse place. That's where we don't want to be. We want to be in at least as good a place, even one that's better. So this is part 1, and as I said, it's all about getting context. So it starts with, first of all, finding space. Chief, you're not going to make some great life decision in the midst of the chaos of the modern world. You've got to get out. You've got to get out of Dodge, either go to the beach or the mountains or the desert, wherever you are most yourself. Well, everyone's got a happy place, right? I've got a happy place that's in the mountains. I go there, I just feel like within 10 minutes of being there, I'm really, really at home. What is that space for you? Find your space where you can make some wise decisions. Seek your own true counsel, listen to your intuition, all that kind of stuff, right? Find some space. When you get there, don't dive straight into this analysis yet. Go for a long walk, hike, whatever it is. Get some miles into your legs. And there is a scientific reason for this. It's not just me making things up. We want you to be in the right state. In a nice, even, centered state. The process of a very rhythmic walk or ride where you just get into flow over an hour or 2, maybe even more. I like to go for 2 or 3 hours if I've really got a big decision to make. Just gets you centered. It's cathartic. And that's where we want to be. We want to be in a place where we're ready to make some smart decisions. Step 2 then is to open up your life vision, your vision board for yourself. If you don't have one, right, I'll put a link in the show notes to where you can go back to another episode of The Inner Chief and do that. Align to your vision. Your vision is where you want to be 5, 10, 15 years from now. Pick a particular date and work out where you want to be with your family, your health, your fitness, your finances, your career, right? What is your dream job? Where do you want to be? Like, we've all got these dreams in our careers. This is the place to go back to. Because the thing is here, we need to know what the destination is if we're going to do a really good job of deciding should I stay or should I go. One of my digital mentors, a fantastic guy called Alex Mendoza, and he's got a brilliant quote. He said, there's nothing wrong. There's only one thing worse than going in the wrong direction. That's going in the wrong direction enthusiastically. And that's what this is about. You might end up picking a job that doesn't align to your vision and ends up taking you completely in the wrong direction. So sit down, do a vision of your future if you've never done one, or if you've got one, realign yourself with it, connect to it again and say, okay, that's where I'm trying to get to. Then come back to the present and define what would be the ideal next role to get you to the vision. Right? If you think about a bit of a career map, a journey map from one role to the next, you're probably not only one role from this. It might be one or two roles in between. What we've got to work out is, what's the ideal next role? And here's how you do this. You write down all the criteria, and that would be how much money you earn, what's the flexibility of the role, what's the job title, is it a promotion, is sideways okay, industry, profession, flexibility of role, annual holidays, development opportunities, all these kinds of things. What we're doing here as well, just so you know, is working out the criteria for whatever the role will be. In this process of identifying the ideal role, for right now, you'll start to work out what's most important to you in your role. Now, here's an interesting thing that just about everybody leaves out. The quality of relationships with the people you work with, being recognised for your work, and development opportunities in the role. If you don't have a job where you're recognised, at least appreciated, if you don't have a job where the relationships with the people around you are any good, and if you're not growing as an individual, I guarantee if those three things are missing, you will be unhappy. You will always be unhappy no matter what happens. But relationships count. Growth counts. So define what it's going to be like in your role. Be appreciated for the work I do. 1 course per year. Good relationships with people. Because what that means is when we get down to the steps 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we're starting to ask the right questions about the kind of role we want to take on or the kind of changes we need to make in the business we are right now. In the very end, at the end of these 3 parts, there is only 2 options, stay or go. But what we want to do is in each of those, potentially have more than one option. That's going to be the trick to this process. So Chief, time now to get out of Dodge, check out your vision and define the ideal role. Now I'm going to pause there on this because I need you to go and do that before we go to step 4, 5 and 6 or part 2. And that's going to be all about identifying the root cause problem of why you're in the situation you're in right now. I'm not going to give you that till next week because I want you to nail this first. Okay? So Chief, check that out. Right, if you have never done any of this sort of career planning stuff and you're totally stuck about where you're going, I'm going to give you a $200 voucher to the Chief Macro Academy. Just go to chiefmacroacademy.com, pick the game plan course and put in Legacy as your voucher or coupon code. I'll give you $200 off. Righto, Chief. Look, as always, remember to stay epic.